back to the channel, everyone. Today we are doing a very soft and simple look because this is a very costume focused look. Today we are doing Peasant Cinderella. I saw someone on TikTok who cosplays as her often kind of put together this look, and she showed how easy it was, so I wanted to do my own version. So to start off, we are just reworking the high points of my face a little bit. I'm taking my concealer and just covering my lids with it to even out my skin tone, and then we're going in the inner corners. I am using a brush today to help put my concealer on, just to get it blended out a little bit more evenly while still providing some coverage. So I put this under my eyes and kind of along my nose just to get any of the areas that are discolored and a little bit red out of the equation. So for my primer, I put on my brightening primer from Wet n Wild, and then I blended it out with a sponge. Now you'll see I did this after I did the concealer. I did that on purpose. One, because I wanted the stick to be there for the rest of my foundation, but also I knew it would help blend out the edges and make them a little bit softer, so we didn't have this very like triangle-y drag highlight, which I usually love, but not for this look. So still working on our base, I'm just taking a little bit of the liquid blush that I have and using that to kind of contour my face from underneath. We're doing that underpainting that I love to do. So I added a little dot to my nose and then some bigger dots on my cheeks, and then just blended this out, working upwards and creating these little C shapes. Now on my nose, I just added it so that my face looked a little bit more rosy and youthful, and then I also blended just what was left on the sponge into my hairline a bit, just to make everything very glowy and soft. For my foundation, I used the Fit Me Matte and Poreless, and I just tapped this all over top. Actually, I think I may have used the Pretty Fresh. I think I used Pretty Fresh because it's not matte, and I wanted it to glow a little bit, but I knew that it would cover up the majority of the blush so that it looked nice and normal. So I am just tapping this all over. I only use like 1 or 2 pumps of this stuff, and it covers that blush perfectly while letting the color shine through just a little, so that underpainting really is given justice. So now I am just making everything nice and set with my Laura Geller transition powder, or not transition powder, translucent powder. I just put a little bit of this on and buffed it out with a big dense sponge, just so everything was nice and set when I go to put in those powders. Nothing's gonna get cakey on me. Just kept them nice and natural. I used my Thick It and Slick It. Since I'm going to be wearing a blonde wig, I wanted to go with a lighter color. And this is a pretty subtle brow product, but it does add some thickness, and it gets you that kind of natural bushy brow that I wanted, since Cinderella's eyebrows, real life, I would think wouldn't be super plucked and perfect, so I wanted to add a little bit of volume and a little bit of color. Now for the eyes, I went in with just a flesh tone color and highlighted underneath the brow bone, so maybe a shade or two lighter than flesh toned. I believe this is Pink Cream from the Lorac Mega Pro 3 palette. I don't really remember because this is honestly just kind of a good everyday look as well. So I just went in with my neutral tones. So I'm just blending a lot of this on the brow bone so that everything is nice and highlighted and soft, because again, we're going for like glowy, very pretty, very natural looking, but just a little bit of glam. For the crease, I went in with this soft kind of sable color and blended that as our transition color in the crease, and also to give us just a bit of depth and shading. I pretty much only used 2 brushes for my eyes in this whole look, so if you don't have a ton of tools, this is really easy. Or if you're someone that's just not big into makeup and only really does it for Halloween or special occasions, you don't really need a whole lot of tools for this. So I just made sure I blended everything so it was nice and soft and had a lot of soft edges. I didn't really want like a sharp wing or anything like that. And then for the lid, I just went in with a slightly shimmery pink shade and tapped that on as well. Again, just to highlight everything and keep it nice and neutral. I just tapped this on and then blended the edges out again so that it didn't have a really hard stop. It just all kind of moves together. And this brush I got from Sephora, I think. And then for the liner, I just used a light brown, and yes, I'm doing the thing where you pull your lid, but if I didn't, I would make the line way too thick. So I just added a small line on the upper lash line, and then I tight lined the lashes as well. Again, just to make my eyes look a little bit bigger, more awake, and a little more princessy. So I did that on both eyes. I really like these eyeliners. I got them a while ago in like a big pack, and they're proving to be very nice for lips and eyes. And they're quite effective and quite pigmented. So I really like those. I think I reviewed them a while ago. They either came in a mystery box or I got them on Temu, I think, at the time. So then I went in with some mascara. I did a few coats of that, nothing too crazy, just to wake up my lashes a bit. And then I went in with just a very small white line underneath my eye of liquid liner. I only went halfway across my lower lash line, again, just to make my eyes look really awake. Then this step is totally optional, but I did add a little natural lash on here. Again, I just wanted to like make it look soft and pretty, but I wanted my eyes to look a lot more glam, I guess you could say, like bigger, more dramatic. So I just added like a little neutral lash. Then I went in with a very soft pink highlighter, and I did this before I put any more blush on so that it would look more like a glow from within. I added it on my cheekbones, the bridge of my nose, and the tip of my nose, making sure to blend it really well. And then I went in with a light orange blush just to top everything off. Again, just kind of set everything down, but still add a little bit more color. And adding the orange on top of pink, I find makes it really natural. So for the costume, I wore this blue peasant top with a little brown corset top I found and a brown peasant skirt and apron. Somehow I lost the footage of my lip color, but it's just like a Your Lips But Better pink color. So here's what it looks like. So I wore my blonde wig and had a little white bandana, and I grabbed Slater to be my own personal Lucifer, and he was not happy to be involved in this thing at all. But I hope you guys like this, and I think you'll join me tomorrow for another costume and look. Bye.